What up? It's your boy T-Bell here in reaction to today's Films Friday. Now I'm about to get into the meat and potato of Films Friday, which is dead meat kill count. And this week we are going to check out another new recount that James Lee started, because this, as he looks to set to recount some of his earlier kill count reaction. As you know, through the years he has grown into becoming more of a better entertainment, better commentator when it comes to the kill counts. Before, he was just going through the motion and everything, but he hadn't had his footing yet. Till later on, he found his footing and his charm and everything, and the rest is history. So he wants to rewrite the wrongs of some of his earlier ones, though. You know, unfortunately, I had the Alien Predator franchise was his earlier one, and a lot of folks gonna be a little irked. That means that I'm reacting to his old ones, because I don't know if he'll ever do a recount of that anytime soon. But we're going to check out a recount of one of my favorite my other favorite Wes Craven franchise aside from Nightmare on Elm Street, and that is the Scream series. So before we do that, for the first time, I'm going to do a trailer within a Dead Me Kill Count reaction, and that is the new Big Game Spot trailer for Scream 6 that comes out real soon as well too, starring Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera. So without further ado, we want to check that out real quick, and then we're going to get into the Scream recount. Let's get it. Woo!
We're too high up. We can't get down from here.
Oh, wow.
Come on!
Uh-oh. She about to get got.
You're almost here. Behind you! This isn't like any other ghost.
They better not be kill my girl off, man. But I still can't believe she's back, though.
What is this place?
I heard it was a behind-the-scenes explanation of how she survived, but we may find out either on the recount or somehow if I can react to the Scream 4 recount before this come out. I definitely can't wait to find out the story of how she survived.
It's a shrine. Guys? We've got to lure him in. We execute him. Come on, mother!
Scream. It's for you. Only in theaters March 10th.
March 10th, yeah. We got I hope I can make it to. Well, I doubt that. I don't even know the Scream 4 recount. No, it might be, but by the time I get to it, it's probably gonna be the movies out. But God knows I'm gonna go get a chance to see the movie, because my wife's not a horror fan as well too, so that's the other thing. But anyway, we're gonna get into these now. We're gonna get into the Scream, the recount of the original Scream kill count from James Lee. The Scream franchise was the horror film that revitalized, reamped horror franchises. The horror franchise. Well, not the horror franchise. The horror movie genre craze. Because for a while, if you heard me in some previous kill count reaction, we react to like horror movies from the mid to early 90s, though, how I talk about how horror movies went through a decline. Even like the top horror films franchise, such as like Halloween, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even Nightmare on Elm Street, as well as the Jason movies, was going downhill, and horror film wasn't like at its peak rate. Was going through a down period during the early 90s and mid 90s. Lo and behold, Scream came out, and the rest was history. Horror movies was revamped, resurrected as well too, to the older franchise, getting a secondary reboot or whatever, looking 10 times better than their down period as well too, such as the favorite version Jason, the Halloween remakes, the Texas Chainsaw remakes, and many other horror films that follow Scream, including I Know What You Did Last Summer, and many others. So without further ado, we're going to check out the movie that reinvented, revamped the horror genre. That is Scream, the first Scream that came out in 1996. With not only that, had a damn near all-star cast, whether they was veteran in the games already during the 90s as well, or up and comer as well too. No matter how long of a get the word together of a scene they had as well too. That was the all-star cast going through, became a well-known thing with the Scream series as well too, as well as putting on a lot of new faces to get their little come up to this as well too. So without further ado, let's check out the Scream 6 kill count recount. Let's get it.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and I am so MFing excited, y'all, because we are one.
Why he kind of look like I think it was Wilson. He kind of like Luke Wilson from the Stab remake they did on Scream 2, or with the hair. He do kind of like Luke Williams on the cool that was going to play Billy Loomis in the Stab movie.
Once again, and looking at Scream 1996.
I'm back. Sorry, I'm like all over the place trying to mess up. That's what I get for doing 2 videos in one. I guess I got completely thrown off or anything. For one, I've got to set them on a standard quality, and 2, when I play it again, I've got to put the video back up. I'm talking, so hopefully the rest of it be genuine natural again. But anyway, let's keep going.
I am so MFing excited, y'all, because we are once again looking at Scream 1996, which competes with The Thing as my all-time favorite horror movie. I can't say enough about how much Scream has influenced me. I remember running scared from the opening scene as a 7 or 8-year-old and being proud of myself.
Hey, he's that young. He's that way younger than me, because I was like maybe like 11 or 12 when this came out. I'm showing my age, so wow.
When I overcame that fear just a couple years later, I watched the first 3 installments religiously during my first horror movie obsession. Back when I learned HTML just to code my own website. Wow. While I didn't catch Scream 4 when it first came out, it was filmed in my college town of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Okay. And of course, I had a freaking cameo in Scream 5.
That was awesome right there. When I glad he pointed it out right now. When I think I shouted it out. If I did not, I was amped about that they got a little scene, they little part in Scream 5. I think that was pretty awesome right there. I liked it.
The coolest thing Chelsea and I have ever done, besides get married. This franchise means the world to me, and these kill counts will not be unbiased. But honestly, no review is. I'm just being upfront about how important this series, and especially this first film, is to me. I mean, I wrote about it in a published book. But Scream isn't just important to me, it's important to the horror genre overall. I'd argue it's one of the 5 most influential horror films ever made. It kicked off a second wave of slashers, the subgenre so integral to horror, people often think they're one and the same. Slashers were made huge by Halloween and Friday the 13th and ruled the genre in the early 80s. But by the mid-1990s, they were a joke of their former selves, and the horror genre had largely disappeared from the zeitgeist.
Yep, as I explained.
That's not to say there weren't good horror flicks still coming out. There were, but to the general audience, horror films were just stereotypes. They were a punchline. Scream came in and acknowledged that the genre was full of tropes, but not in a jokey way like Jason Lives had done a decade prior. Instead, Scream kept the stakes high and the horror grounded. The characters talked about the same horror movies the audience had seen in real life. It might be hard to understand now, when every movie is filled with references, but back then, it was unusual for characters to show this specificity of pop culture knowledge. It wasn't every day you were hearing references to The Howling.
What's that werewolf movie with E.T.'s mom in it?
The Howling.
The Whip-Smart script was written by Kevin Williamson, whose work perfectly captured the spirit of teenagers in the 90s. After Scream, Williamson would create Dawson's Creek and write more horror films that encapsulated the era.
He did Falcony 2, and I know he did that summer, but wow, Falcony 2, wow.
Director proved a bit of a challenge though, with George Romero and Sam Raimi both passing on the script. Wes Craven also turned it down at first, but changed his mind after hearing Drew Barrymore was attached. And after a young fan at a convention had told him his movies had gotten too soft. Craven didn't start directing until he was in his 30s, when he made Last House on the Left, a zero-budget rape revenge film. He'd go on to make a few more horror flicks before creating A Nightmare on Elm Street in 1984. That gave the world Freddy Krueger, the biggest horror icon of the 80s. But I guess that wasn't enough for old Wes, since he made another monster hit with Scream a dozen years later. Wes would stick with the series for the rest of his life, with Scream 4 his last directorial effort before he passed away in 2015. Thanks in large part to his efforts,
And just let you know, I got the all collection of both the Nightmare on Elm Street movies and as well as the Scream movies as well too, from 1 to 5, as well as all the Nightmare on Elm Street. Or if they don't got that series, Nightmare on Elm Street series, I might just get it just to add it to collection. Maybe, who knows? The Freddy Nightmare series, who know? But other than that, yes.
Scream is one of the strongest horror franchises through and through. Every installment gives a sort of state of the genre, discussing and reflecting on horror's tendencies at any given time. The first dissects slashers, the second explores the rules of a sequel, and the third caps off the original trilogy by going full-blown Hollywood. A decade later, Scream 4 came out, guns a-blazing at torture porn and the proliferation of remakes.
Yep.
Another decade would pass before the fifth film tackled so-called elevated horror, and more pointedly, the more recent requel phenomenon. Aside from the first film, no Scream is perfect, but no Scream is bad either. It's great. As for the original, it's one of the...
Not a single one of them Screams was bad at all. Not even the fourth one nor the fifth one. They was all good, man. That's the other thing about it. None of them went downhill or nothing like that. Maybe some people didn't. Maybe some people didn't. Of course, some of them have some critics or anything, but to me, not a single. And this does not mean me just being biased or being low lenient. Like, even if I wasn't lenient, I will say not a single one of them was bad at all. Not more than I'm saying. If I could say now, I kind of want to look at their ranking one. That might be the video I might look at afterwards.
Those movies where everything just came together. It's got a hell of a cast, an engaging whodunit mystery, and fucking Ghostface, man. Everybody knows Ghostface and his voice.
Hello, Sydney.
The first three Screams were released between 1996 and 2000, and were then directly parodied by Scary Movie later that year. In other words, Scream was the horror subgenre of the late 90s. I used to take that for granted, since I was a kid at the time. But looking back, it's hard not to appreciate its impact. Scream's funny, it's scary, and it was a massive success.
Yes,
and it all started with a phone call. Oh, hey,
here we go.
Speak of the devil. Hello?
Sponsor time.
Timothy, I want to play a game.
Who is this?
You should worry less about that and more about keeping your precious count filmable.
Lord.
Oh my god. What do you want?
It's simple, Mr. Counter. You get all these sponsorships. Now it's time to
that
prove you
Soren?
know what you're talking about. Answer 3 questions about today's sponsor, Raycons, and the kill count script can survive.
Is that all?
Got the Jiffy Pop.
Let's do this.
Got the Jiffy
If
Pop.
you say so. How much battery life do you get on one charge?
Huh. Child's play. 8 hours of playtime and 32 hours in the battery case.
Don't get cocky. That's just a warm-up. First real question. How many colors do Raycon earbuds come in?
Okay. Mine are flare red, and then there's carbon black, rose gold, frost white, and electric blue.
Correct. Next, how many 5-star reviews does Raycon have?
That would be 50,000. Is this the best you've got? I'm almost embarrassed for you.
Fine. You want a challenge? What are the 3 Raycon sound profiles?
Okay. That would be, pure sound, ideal for podcasts and audiobooks. Balanced sound, ideal for music like jazz, pop, and rock. And, bass sound, ideal for music like hip-hop and EDM. Boom! Cough up the script, bitch!
Damn it! How do you know so much?
Because I love my Raycons, bro. I use them all the time. From when I'm working to when I'm working out. And they fit in my ear a lot better than I fit through doggy doors.
Fine.
Check out Raycons for yourself and get 15% off your purchase at the link in the description.
You gotta love the Dead Meat Crew, man. They always like that. They always gotta be fun to watch, man.
Or go to buyraycon.com/deadmeat. Now let's sit back and take a trip to NorCal in the 90s and find out how many kills there were in Scream. The movie begins with a phone call. Oh man, someone dialed title card! Woodsboro High School student Casey Becker answers the phone to a velvety sexy voice. She says the caller has the wrong number, but he calls back again anyway. They wind up talking about Jiffy Pop and then about scary movies.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
They name drop Halloween and Wes Craven's own baby, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
I like that movie. It was scary.
Well, the first one was, but the rest sucked.
Oh come on, Wes, even New Nightmare?
I did not write that line.
Oh,
Alright, so New Nightmare. So yeah. I do have a little feeling about when she said that though. Rest don't suck. The only one I say that somewhat suck when wasn't my favorite. I say one of my least favorites are 2 and possibly 5, but 3 and 4, man. Well, no, 2. I will say 2. 3. I like the 5 though, but I say out of the Dream series, this is my least favorite, but I liked it though as well too. And Freddy's Death, I should say. But New Nightmare, I grew to like as well.
Fair enough. I mean, you can't knock New Nightmare. It was Craven's testing ground for meta horror, released 2 years prior to Scream. It featured the actors and Craven playing real versions of themselves, while an evil entity takes on Freddy Krueger's appearance and tries to infiltrate the real world. Wes Craven's New Nightmare is a great movie, but it didn't resonate with audiences the way Scream did. I think the difference is the comedy in Kevin Williamson's script. New Nightmare is way drier and takes itself more.
I said the same thing. That's why it took me a while to grow into it. Freddy was too serious to me in New Nightmare. That's why for a while it was like down to being my least favorite at all to the point like when I got all the collection, I left that one out too outside to get the old box set. I had all the collection on tape, and then when I get the DVD, I was like, oh well, let me just I might as well get the New Nightmare where I didn't want to, but yeah. It was for a while. New Nightmare was not my favorite because it was so dry. Like I say, so dry and too serious. Compared to the other Nightmare, even compared to the first one, it was too serious.
Seriously. Of course, despite its humor, Scream keeps scares as its priority.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
Fucking chills. This whole opening scene, one of the best in horror history, is an homage to the opening scene of When a Stranger Calls. Ooh. Scream's references to other horror movies are way too vast to mention in a kill count. I know.
When did that movie come out? I heard of that movie, but when did it came out, say?
This whole opening scene, one of the best in horror history, is an homage to the opening scene.
Alright, 1979, okay. Is that Carol Kane?
Scene of When a Stranger Calls. Scream's references to other horror movies are way too vast to mention in a kill count. I know I've said this before, but I do hope to make a separate video detailing them sometime. And if I don't, well, I'm sorry, okay? Before you can pull a magnum and say, pop, pop, the caller's voice changes from sexy to scary.
You hang up on me again, I'll gut you like a fish, understand?
This threat of home invasion gets Casey jumping scared, and she reaches a fever pitch when she sees her boyfriend Steve Orth tied up outside. The caller tells her she can try to save his life while creating a catchphrase for a puppet.
I wanna play a game.
The game is Ghostface's Horror Trivia Night. Casey correctly names Michael Myers
so he did before Jigsaw did. I wanna play a game.
The killer in Halloween, but fumbles the ball when it comes to Friday the 13th.
Jason!
As any pedantic, horror-loving kid knew to annoy their friends with, like me, Pamela Voorhees was the killer in Friday the 13th. Adult Jason showed up in the sequel, and don't even get me started about the hockey mask. Because Casey got it wrong, Steve loses his life. He gets stabbed to death in the dark. The lighting and editing is a little cheesy, but it is a solid evisceration in the end, especially in the unrated version. Them guts be sloppy! Effects for Scream were done by the ubiquitous K&B Effects group. For Steve's death, they made a chair with no back so actor Kevin Patrick Walls could kneel behind it, with his upper half sticking out over a fake abdomen. The belly was filled with rubber, latex, gelatin, and fake blood that then fell to the ground, something the MPAA was not a fan of, which is why it's cut in the R-rated version. With a chair through Casey's window, we're off to the races. There's no place to hide, but Casey arms herself with a knife, and even uses the phone as a weapon when she needs to. Eventually though, while going the distance, Casey's caught by Ghostface. Probably shouldn't have started running in slow motion, Case. That's dumb. The violence here is much more realistic than a lot of slashers, and even more impactful is the emotional moment as Casey tries to call out for her parents. They end up hearing her through the phone as she's stabbed to death by Ghostface. They helplessly listen as their teenage daughter takes her final breath. Even worse is when they come outside. It is not a pretty sight. Casey's death was done in a similar way to Steve's, combining Barrymore and a fake corpse, but this time they made a full body dummy since it had to be hanging from a tree. The death of Drew Barrymore's character was a huge twist for the theater theater-going audience. The movie had marketed the shit out of her involvement, so it became a surprise and also a reference to Janet Leigh in Psycho, who was billed as the star but died 47 minutes in. Drew had her beat by 34. Interestingly, it was Barrymore's idea to take the role of the cold open victim. She was originally cast as Sidney Prescott, the actual final girl, but changed her mind about starring in the film only 6 weeks before production began. I'm not sure why. Maybe she only wanted to work the 5 days it took them to shoot the opening, which took place in April 1996 at the very start of production. Taking over for her was the 22-year-old Neve Campbell, who had been in The Craft and 2 seasons of Party of Five. Campbell's acting is the bedrock of Scream's success. Sidney Prescott is my favorite final girl of all damn time, even if her taste in dudes is greasy-haired window climbers like Billy Loomis. Sid's boyfriend is played by Skeet Ulrich, whose intensity is only matched by his good looks. He's well known now among a certain audience as Jughead's dad in Riverdale. Billy desperately wants to get into Sidney.
Riverdale brought out the 90s icons to play the parents, because, you know, Luke Perry was a parent there as well, too, before he's passed away and everything. But yeah, nice.
His pants. But she hasn't been interested in intimate affairs this past year. Sorry about your dry dick, Bill, but try to have some understanding. Sid's still mourning her mom.
Only a year ago, Maureen Prescott, wife and mother, was found raped and murdered not far from this peaceful town square.
That human highlighter is Gale Weathers, loudest clown at the media circus that descends on Woodsboro High. Media criticism is a big part of the Scream films. Then 30-year-old Kevin Williamson was inspired to write Scream, originally entitled Scary Movie, while house-sitting by himself.
Wow. So the original title of it was Scary Movie 4, and then they had a parody, but it's the movie called Scary Movie. Interesting right there.
One weekend, he watched a sensationalized news report about the 1990 Florida serial killer deemed the Gainesville Ripper. He was so freaked out he called a friend for comfort, and they talked about their favorite scary movies. Williamson's script was immediately popular, and a bidding war broke out between production companies. It was ultimately purchased by Dimension Films, which, along with its parent company, Miramax, was founded by the Weinstein brothers, Harvey and Bob.
Oh, damn. That's all I gotta say about that.
Specifically made some major decisions for this film, like releasing it in December and changing its name from Scary Movie to Scream, inspired by the Michael and Janet Jackson duet of the same name. I fucking hate that these fucks are part of this movie's DNA.
Yeah, go figure, man. For real, James. I understand.
My research, I kept having to see the same picture of that nasty ogre and his fuckhead brother. It was gross. Sydney's tragic recent past earns her sympathy from Principal Fonzie in the Woodsboro PD. It's headed by Sheriff Burke, played by Joseph Whipp, who also played a cop in Nightmare on Elm Street. Woodsboro's deputy, Dwight Dewey Riley, is extra caring towards Sydney. That's cause he's the older brother of her best friend Tatum, played by Rose McGowan. Sid and Tatum Tots hang out with the rest of the gang at the Friends Fountain, which includes Grease Bucket Billy, Tatum's boyfriend Stu Macher, and Randy Meeks, the geeky fifth wheel of the group, who makes
first. You know, I gotta take a bow to my man Matt Lillard, man. Whoo! You haven't given his flowers yet, give this man's flower. This man reigns to this day is awesome, especially in here, man, for real.
Movie references and talks
and Jamie Kennedy, of course.
Did you really put her liver in the mailbox? Because I heard that they found her liver in the mailbox.
Not to be outdone by Jamie Kennedy, Matthew Lillard makes sure to choose some scenery himself.
Liver alone. Ow, liver. It was a joke.
And he will choose so much more.
I look back at that performance, I'm like, what was he letting me do?
Sydney gets back home, which is empty for the weekend. Earlier, her dad told her he was going out of town for a convention. Wonder if it's the same one Rand Peltzer got stuck at. Sid's house, like Casey's, is huge and empty, so she probably shouldn't be there all alone. Not with you-know-who calling around.
Hello, Sydney.
The iconic voice on the phone was provided by Roger L. Jackson, who would later go on to voice Mojo Jojo in the Powerpuff Girls. Craven never let the other actors meet Jackson, keeping him a scary stranger voice while they filmed their scenes.
When I'm working, I have a monitor there, so I can see through the camera's POV, though they can't see me, of course.
The caller once again plugs my interview show when he asks Sydney, what's your favorite scary movie? In response, Sydney talks shit about the genre.
They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
Her shallow judgment of horror is met with the caller breaking out his scary voice.
Do you want to die, Sydney? Your mother sure didn't.
Ghostface appears from inside her house and attacks Nev Campbell's stunt double. They talk joke, but she fends him off with a kick that sends him flying. With the front door locked, she's forced to be a stereotype, but keeps the ghost-faced killer out of her bedroom long enough for her like 14 4K internet to connect her to the police. A Billy boy suddenly pops in through the window, hugs Sid, and drops his cellular telephone. Why, I hear only witches have those devices. Witch! Ghost! Damn it, Dewey, why would you hold it like that? Billy is arrested despite his claims of innocence, and Tatum rolls up in her toy car to be there for her best friend. I love Dewey as this boyish Barney Fife, who reverts to being a kid when he learns that Sydney's staying overnight with them.
Does Mom know?
Yes, Doofus.
He's such a funny leading male character.
God damn it, Dewey.
Well, what did Mama tell you? When I wear this badge, you treat me like a man of the law.
Billy and his werewolf look.
Yo, Dave Arquette was gold in this, man. You know I was heartbroken. Wait. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that saw that haven't seen the fifth one, but Dave Arquette, man, Dewey, man, I love this character as Dewey, man, for real, I love this character for Dewey.
Leading male character.
God damn it, Dewey.
Well, what did Mama tell you? When I wear this badge, you treat me like a man of the law.
Billy and his werewolf-looking dad maintain his innocence, but Sydney don't know what to think about her boyfriend. She definitely know what to think about Gail Weathers, though, who's slinking around the station looking for a scoop. Gail's been writing a book about the murder of Sydney's mom, but Sid didn't exactly put in a pre-order.
I'll send you a copy.
If that happened today, I bet someone would make like an auto-tune version that went viral.
Right.
Send you a copy. Bam! Bitch went down.
I'll send you a copy. Bam!
Yup.
Super bit.
Yup.
Super bit.
Yup.
Bam! Bitch went down.
Sydney hates
Yep, right on TikTok.
Gail because her book is trying to exonerate Cotton Weary, the man arrested for murdering Sydney's mother a year ago. Gail thinks Cotton is innocent, and if these latest killings are connected, maybe she could prove it.
If I'm right about this, I could save a man's life. Do you know what that could do for my book sales?
Hit you in the face with book sales. She approaches the case through the proudly stated 25-year-old Deputy Dewey. It doesn't take long for her to start whittling her way into his naive heart. Gail and Dewey's relationship is so fun to watch throughout the series, especially since it led to a real-life romance and marriage between David Arquette and Courtney Cox. And it all starts here with this well-written and well-acted conversation.
In a demographic study, I proved to be most popular amongst males 11 to 24. I guess I just missed you.
I'm 25. I was 24 for a whole year.
David Arquette is absolutely hilarious in this role. Dewey's my favorite.
He's so
man.
adorable.
Eating his little ice cream cone while discussing suspects. He even kind of misses putting his sunglasses on. God, he's the best. Dewey was originally written as a more muscly hunk, but after being cast as one of the high schoolers, David Arquette requested he play the deputy instead, partly because it meant he'd get to kiss Courtney Cox. Aside from possibly Drew Barrymore, the 31-year-old Cox was the most well-known of the cast, being 2 seasons deep into Friends. She had to lobby hard to get the role of Gail Weathers, since at first Craven didn't think she could be bitchy enough. Billy is released since his cell phone records are clean, but he's still guilty of being an asshole about Sydney's mom's death.
No, it's been a year.
Tomorrow. 1 year tomorrow.
I know what. I think it's time you got over that. I mean, when my mom left my dad, I accepted it. It's the way it is.
Damn, no chill factor at all to this guy.
Stupid.
The rest of the student body's just as bad, flapping their little ghost arms around with Christmas glee. After overhearing some shit talk in the shit closet,
Maybe she's a slut, just like her mother.
Sydney gets attacked, but she escapes pretty easily. Some people think this bathroom attack wasn't from a real ghost face, but I don't see why it wouldn't be, sure as clumsy as they usually are. In any case, it gets school canceled for the day, and Stu immediately declares he's having a party at his farmhouse. He'll carry all the women there! Principal Himbry's not invited, but he'd be too busy anyway, fonzing his hair in the mirror and pointing out Wes Craven's cameo that references his earlier horror hit.
Damn little shits.
What'd you call me?
Not your friend.
Oh, Wes, you were so cute. Not sure why you're falling down while filming this, though. Himbry gets killed in his office by a ghost face who was staying late after school. Wonder what club he was part of. Probably theater. How else would he get that sparkly-ass robe? Ghostface's costume is iconic, of course, but they had a hard time figuring out what he should look like. The script simply said a ghostly white mask. Howard Berger of K&B sketched a bunch of initial ideas, but they were way too grotesque and goblin-y to be taken seriously. Luck came upon production while location scouting at the house where they shot Hitchcock's Shadow of a Doubt. The perfect mask was found in a bedroom by producer Marianne Madalena, Wes Craven.
Wasn't that like a well-known Halloween mask at first, and before it became the Scream mask?
His longtime producing partner.
They used to call it a ghoul mask or something like that.
Went to MSU. Go green? just this once. At first, since they didn't own the copyright for the mask, K&B tried to sculpt their own imitation. Production began with this version, which can be seen in many shots of the opening and every scene with Principal Himbry, since Henry Winkler shot all of his stuff in one day right after they finished the opener. The K&B mask has squintier eyes and a smaller mouth, which is thinner at the bottom, thanks to Scream Trilogy for that info. Craven still preferred the original mask they found in that house though, and eventually they tracked down the makers, Fun World, a small New England company who agreed to let them use it as long as they were always given credit.
Being just a simple country boy that I am, I said, okay, that's fine, just be sure that you, in the credits, say Ghostface, courtesy of Fun World Easter Unlimited, our parent.
They did it.
And send $100.
Fun masks were used for the rest of the production, and are even in the opening scene thanks to some reshot inserts. Everyone in Woodsboro has their own theories about who the killer is behind that mask. Horror expert Randy thinks that Billy's a guilty boy. Stu thinks it's Sidney's still missing father. Basically, everybody's a suspect! Billy lets Randy know he doesn't appreciate the accusation. Stu lets Randy know he does appreciate his earlobe. The town closes for curfew as Red Right Hand plays, the kick-ass dark cowboy song by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds that was already used in an earlier montage. It would basically become Scream's unofficial theme song, appearing in all of the films but the fourth one. It's also used as the theme to Peaky Blinders, but it'll always be the Scream song to me. As for Woodsboro, it's played by the city of Santa Rosa, located about an hour north of San Francisco. Woodsboro High was supposed to be played by Santa Rosa High School, but even though the school staff agreed to it, the school board shot it down.
They didn't really want to glorify violence against children.
This isn't necessarily just a case of pearl clutching though. The city, which had a town hall meeting to discuss the school's use in the production, was still reeling from the case of Polly Klaus, a 12-year-old from a nearby town who had recently been kidnapped and murdered. Craven said later on that in retrospect, he understood their concerns, but he was pretty pissed by the last-minute pullout at the time, thus the peculiarity at the end of the credits.
No thanks whatsoever. I guess I gotta watch the whole credits and check that part out. But wow. But I understand why they didn't want to do it, but also understand why he was pissed. Like, you going to tell me this last, why you didn't tell me that before in the first place? You know what I'm saying? But I understand why they did it though. But wow.
Saying no thanks whatsoever to the school board. Instead, the high school was played by a community center in the nearby Sonoma. An hour into the film, we make our way there, folks. The party at 261 Turner Lane, one of the coolest third act locations for a horror film ever. We spend more than 40 minutes at Stu's spacious, twisty farmhouse, all of which is shot on location at a house now known as the Spring Hill Estate. Located in Tamales, this spacious farmhouse sits on a hill super isolated from anything around it. In one of the top 3 coolest things we've ever done with Dead Meat, in November 2021, Chelsea and I were flown out to the Scream house and stayed there overnight. We were amazed at how much the action of the movie matched the house's real layout. We made a damn good video walking through what happens where. Make sure you check it out sometime.
Nice.
There's no better way to make a party lame though than the presence of a cop and a reporter. Dewey's here to play protector, but Gail's guile gets her into the party with him.
You're underage, son. I'm kidding. Have a good time. Watch the driving.
There, she plants a camera pointed at a bunch of drunk teenagers. Gail, you were just asking for legal troubles. Later, she learns her teen feed has a 30-second delay, like she were living in the post-Nipplegate world. Speaking of nips, Tatum heads to the garage to re-up her boyfriend on brewskis. While she's in there, a ghost face appears, ready to do his best David Byrne.
Oh, you want to play Psycho Killer?
Things start getting serious, enough for a party foul. And after the steel gets broken out, Tatum has no choice but to fight back. Ghostface, you are the sloppiest mess. Look at you, man. You're covered in beer. And you're doing clown stunts.
I would gotta say, go out of all the horror characters, well, no, Ghostface was the clumsiest one, though. Second being, well, I won't say Freddy was clumsy. He's just got his ass beat at times. When the first one, he's ass beat by the traps though. But Ghostface was the clumsiest one, man. For real, man. He was.
And shit. Ghostface gets the last laugh when Tatum tries to crawl out through a cat door while incorrectly estimating her bust. She's stuck as the killer turns on the world's strongest garage door motor and killed when she's crushed against the roof of the garage. Even Ghostface is like, wow, that really worked? This memorable kill was a bit difficult to do. They had to nail Rose McGowan to the inside of the garage door
totally
so
different.
she wouldn't fall out. She clearly fits through it most of the time. They used a fake body for the ultimate crushing shot, which had to be cut from the theatrical release. The empty MPAA kept threatening to give Scream an NC-17.
Yeah, that's why there was an unrated version out.
Craven and editor Patrick Lussier had to recut and resubmit it 9 times in order to get the R rating. The party clears out as the trash is brought in. Billy Loomis, looking as greasy as ever. Stu offers them his parents' bedroom, and Sid takes him up on the opportunity. She apologizes to Billy for her chastity, saying she was afraid of becoming like her mother. I always forget how much Maureen Prescott's promiscuity is mentioned in this movie. Well, nothing like talking about your mom's sex life to get you in the mood. Sydney finally goes to Pound Town with Billy, which is not what you're supposed to do if you're in a horror movie, according to Randy downstairs.
Here we go.
He interrupts a viewing of Halloween to go over the rules of surviving a horror film. No sex is number 1, followed by no drugs or alcohol, and finally, you can never say I'll be right back.
Because you won't be back. I'm getting another beer. You want one? Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back.
Gail's not into this meta shit, so she leaves with Dewey. He's checking out a car reported on the side of the road. The party dies down more, and the last guests leave after they hear that Principal Himbry's body is hanging from the school's flagpole. In fact, this is why Himbry was killed in the first place. It was a late addition to the script, done solely to clear out the last of the party extras. On their way out, the teens drive Dewey and Gail from the side of the road, and closer together. Ooh, these two about to be horizontally dancing in the dark. The romance is cut short when they find the reported car, owned by Sydney's still missing father.
Everybody's a suspect!
Sydney and Billy are debriefing from their bone sesh when her suspicions start to match how her body felt a few minutes ago. Aroused. They're quelled when Ghostface appears in the ghost flesh and flays Billy's torso with a knife. He calls out for Sid, then collapses, kicking off an elaborate chase scene through the house. Awesome chase scenes are a staple of Scream movies, and this one starts that motif off strong. Again, check out the video we did to see how much it follows the place's real layout.
Wow.
Sydney winds up falling backwards onto a big old boat mattress, and the sight of Tatum's corpse sends her fleeing from the farmhouse. She takes refuge inside the news van with Gail's intrepid cameraman Kenny. Kenny's been around the entire film, just getting abused by Gail. He's played by prolific character actor W. Earl Brown, who also played a morgue attendant in Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Dude put on 20 pounds to play Kenny, since the script had Gail berating him with fat jokes. Ghostface nearly murders Randy Meeks, who's talking to Jamie Lee Curtis on the TV. It becomes meta when applied to his own actor, Jamie Kennedy.
Behind you. Behind you, Jamie, turn around.
This is one of the only shots where Ghostface isn't played by a stunt performer. Another is a shot in the opening scene. Director Craven wears the masks when Casey hits him with the phone, dick! Otherwise, Ghostface was primarily played by 3 stunt performers. Dane Farwell seems to have done most of the work in chase scenes, and had the idea of wiping off the bloody blade after stabs to avoid continuity errors. Lee Waddell played Ghostface at the start of production, so he did the opening scene and the attack on Principal Himbry. Finally, stunt coordinator Tony Cesari played Ghostface for the next kill that's about to happen. Cesari was previously on the kill count, doing that amazing fire stunt in the original Nightmare.
Wow.
God, that thing rules. Sid and Kenny watch as Ghostface lingers over Randy, but due to the delay, Ghostface is already at the van and murders Kenny with a throat slit. Brown's look of shock was so convincing, the MPAA demanded it be cut from the theatrical version. Sydney leaves the deadwood behind her and pieces out through the van's escape tunnel, which is not scaled for Ghostface size.
I'm glad I didn't go to, well, I'll probably see young to go to the movie at the time anyway, but I'm glad I didn't see this at the movies, so just because all the good shit was cut out, but from what I'm just looking at right now, because I always saw it from like the DVDs and tapes and all that. Yeah, all the good shit was taken out pretty much. Wow.
Dewey and Gail get back, and while Dewey investigates the now empty house, Gail finds evidence of ne'er-do-welling. Randy pops up and she hits him with the phone, dick! Then finds out Kenny's body is on the roof of the van. Stuck up there something good, too. She has to Tokyo drift it off. That and a flailing Sydney in the road causes Gail to crash the van against a tree. Did I do that? Sydney gets back to the house to see Dewdrop stumble out with a knife in his back.
Yellow James is a wrestling reference, and thank God she don't go by Dewdrop anymore. She's bad by her name, but still.
Ghostface retrieves his weapon and continues the chase into another vehicle. God damn, dude, you two have been going at it for so long. It's like, will they, won't they already, right? All this running around was taxing as hell. The whole last act, everything at Stu's house, was a single scene in the script that took 21 nights to shoot at the end of production.
Wow. When we finished it, we had t-shirts made, I survived scene 118.
Sydney can't trust anyone anymore, what with Randy and Stu both accusing the other of being the killer.
Everybody's a
suspect!
Yep.
She curses them both as she locks them outside.
Fuck you
Billy
both.
stumbles out of the bedroom upstairs and all the way down the stairs. Good job, bro. He takes the gun from Sydney and lets Randy back inside so he can show off his best psycho impression.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
With that, he shoots Randy and reveals himself as the killer. It was Skeet Ulrich wearing the Ghostface suit behind Randy a few minutes ago. Billy reveals
and that was his hill turn.
Feels that all his blood is just corn syrup and that the stabbing was faked. And who was his accomplice, Ghostface, for that ruse?
Here we go.
Surprise, Sydney.
Yeah, but
Lord.
was it really a surprise? I mean, let's be real. Billy and Stu have looked like murderers in pretty much every scene they're in. Look at that knowing glance. But to be fair, it's easy to say this in hindsight. I literally can't remember a time I didn't know it was them. With the killers revealed, we get a full fight.
Like it is facts though. Like they when you see they reveal, like I bet folks at the time when they saw it, like I knew it. I bet at the time they said I knew it though. Before you look back, you know, it was too obvious, man. It was too obvious. Know what I'm saying? But later down the line came a bigger surprise, somewhat in a way, but yeah.
Minutes in hell as Sydney is tormented by these two, who clearly love each other, by the way, or at least Stu loves Billy. It's probably unrequited.
Whoa.
They reveal that they're the
and that's probably why they made the gay joke on I can't think of it right now, on a scary movie with the two killers with Marlon Wayne. I've got the other guy that was
who murdered Sydney's mom a year ago, then framed that guy Cotton Weary.
It was fun.
While frivolity may have been Stu's only motive, the scene gets more deranged as Billy reveals his. He says his father had been having an affair with Sydney's mother.
She's the reason my mom moved out and abandoned me.
Skeet Ulrich's seriousness is perfectly balanced by Matthew Lillard's camp. Lillard's playing everything as loud as possible, fucking spitting all over the place.
Yeah.
Some people think it's annoying, but I think it's art.
It's a scream, baby. Hold on a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, he was killer when he was a mess on this one. He was gold on this.
Even Lillard has his doubts sometimes, though.
I go back and watch that. I'm like, first of all, I weigh 80 pounds. Second of all, I spit my way through the whole thing.
Yeah.
He comes back with Sydney's father, who they're gonna frame for these murders. But first, they've got to seem like they're survivors, so they play a round of stomach stabbings. It's really the best way to build a friendship. Wow, Billy really wants to be Stu's friend, huh? All that bro love is making Stu lightheaded.
I'm feeling here.
Gail shows up with a gun, having made her way back to the house from the accident. But the safety's on, so Billy simply kicks her against a pillar, knocking her down for a little do-nap. Before he shoots her dead, they realize Sydney's gotten away. She calls with the voice changer to taunt them, and it angers Billy so much, he forgets how to hang up properly.
Fucking hit me with the phone, Dick!
Every time. Yo, that line cracks me up every time. Especially the way he delivered it.
Danger to taunt them, and it angers Billy so much, he forgets how to hang up properly.
Fucking hit me with the phone, Dick!
The effects used over 50 gallons of fake blood for Scream, a lot of which was used in this finale. It's actually what led to that line.
These little improv moments came out of because he hit me with the phone. You know, it slipped out of his hands because it was bloody.
Whether written or improvised, this scene is full
Here we
of
go.
Lillard lines
I love
that
it.
I honestly
I love it.
fucking death.
My mom and dad.
Sydney and
That Lillard killed this role. I'm sorry. He kills Stu.
emerges from the closet to stab Billy with an umbrella. That scream from Ulrich is real. Nev Campbell, or the stunt performer, missed the protective vest he was wearing and accidentally actually stabbed him. Stu tags in, but after a tussle over the couch, Sydney breaks a vase over his head and dumps a TV on him. It Daniel Zoinks! I'm gonna go ahead and count him here, even though Stu's survival has long been up for discussion. He returned in an early draft of Scream 3, and Lillard has said he'd love to return for Scream 6, which comes out in just a few months.
I wish.
We already got Kirby returning. That'd be some shit if Stu comes back. Wow. That'd be some shit.
Make these decisions. I'm available.
But
that
if
would be
he's
some
alive in
shit.
that movie, I don't want any of you future fucks leaving comments saying I got it wrong. Okay?
Don't, because they already about to do. I know they're gonna do him dirty. I know they on his ass on Scream 4 about Kirby.
Hey, I work with what I know. Sydney finds out that Randy's still alive, and Randy's face finds out that Billy's fist is still alive. Sid fingers his wound, and he's shot down by Gail, but Randy warns them not to get too comfortable.
This is the moment when the supposedly dead killer comes back to life
for one last scare.
Sure enough, Billy does, but Sydney puts a bullet in his head. She's just a badass like that. All right, who's still living after everything? Sid's dad? Okay, that's cool. Deputy Dewey? All right, even better. Especially since that wasn't always the case.
When we shot the final scene, so I came out on the stretcher and I was dead. Then Wes did a second take and he said, you know what, just kind of give a nod or something. It shows that you're still alive.
It was a last-minute idea from Craven to keep Dewey alive, and man, am I glad he did.
I'm glad he did too.
The sun begins to rise as emergency vehicles arrive, and the movie ends with Gale Weathers giving a first-hand report on the Woodsboro murders. How many horror characters should have seen their deaths coming? Let's find out and get to the numbers. Oh, you can just stay right there, though. I'll be right back. There were 7 kills in Scream, a solid single-digit start.
I like the digital kills he got right here, pretty much right here. He really stepped on the digital.
The series. The victims consisted of...
Oh! I just realized why he got lit. Because that's Harry Winkler, the Fonz.
Men and 2 women, so a more than 2-to-1 ratio of dudes. This count and gender breakdown was only seen once before, in that Boy Meets World episode I covered. Remember that? Good times.
Yep.
With a runtime of 111 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 15.86 minutes. I'll give the Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill to Casey Becker. Lots of great kills in this movie, but I've gotta give top honors to the one that scarred me as a child. Gold Machete for lamest kill will go to Principal Himbry. It's not very good. Doesn't even make me want to say ayy. And that's it. Scream came out 5 days before Christmas in 1996. It didn't have a great opening, but it actually made more money in its subsequent weekends, which is rare. Great word of mouth kept it in theaters for 31 weeks, all the way to May. It grossed more than $100 million and ensured a speedy sequel the next year. I'll look at that next week, but until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Hey everybody, thanks a lot for watching this Kill Count.
Well, and there you have it. That is the Scream recount. So as I'm going to go now, Scream recount is going to be added as a week as well too. So 1 week I'm going to do the polls. And speaking of the polls, I forgot to do the loser poll. I'm going to have that up at least next week before I do my next poll. It'll be up before my next poll though as well too. The redemption poll, I should say, as well too. Because like I said, it's not going to earn them viewers. It's going to earn them a spot in the next next poll right there too. But next week we'll return to the franchise week, and that's the Alien vs Predator franchise. Everyone check a look at Aliens. And for the record, for those who want to know, I'm going in order of the time release of the movie. So that being said, Aliens will be next week, and then the next time I go into that franchise, I'll be checking out Predator 1 and Predator 2 since they came out before Aliens 3 came out. So for those anybody wondering why, everybody asks what way I'm doing, that's how I'm doing. I'm going to order releases of the films itself. So that being said, there you have it. So other than that, next week we'll be at, and then the week after that we'll return to the series week, and that when we get out, that where I begin my Stranger Things Kill Counts World 2, and then after that we'll be doing my next poll as well too. But hopefully I'll be able to do this too, because sooner or later that time my little man be coming and everything. Even if the Kill Counts be the only thing I do that day, or I'll pre-record it. But other than that, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And you know what? I feel like I'm gonna do the ranking after this. It's your boy T-Burst. You know what? I don't know. I think I should wait. I should wait till after I finish it to do the rankings one. The rankings were released during the first time he did it, but still. But other than that, it's your boy T-Burst signing off. One love.